So it's not just you, it's also me. Dale, you've mentioned how you love the way that dead trees can be as beautiful, if not more beautiful, than the living ones, and I couldn't agree more with you. I actually love dead trees, or kind of somewhere in between as a living tree in winter that's lost all of its leaves. I much prefer the marula trees when they're just skeletons in the winter, not when they're full of foliage in the summer. I always find it interesting how quickly the sun disappears at this last moments before it heads off, but you're going to be able to enjoy that with Lucky in another spot.
Well done, Scotty. Yeah, we have the same idea. We are on the northern boundary, watching this beautiful sun going down. That's what we call African sunset. It's a really sunset of Africa. So we're sitting up watching it going down. We've been following up on lion tracks. That's so interesting. I was looking to find lions, and I found tracks, which are, we're still going to look for them because it seems like they haven't crossed the northern boundary onto other property. They look like they're still on our property. Now the sun goes down. That's awesome to see. Oh, that's something. Thank you, Miss Paga. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a beautiful sun setting. So after this, we'll carry on looking for these lion tracks. Hopefully we'll be lucky to find them, as it shows that they haven't crossed on the northern boundary. So we'll carry on. Let's enjoy this beautiful sun setting. Yeah. Thank you so much. So next, you just want to know what my favorite bush sound. I love to hear when you come to the pond where you hear a lot of frogs making that noise. I love that. That's a beautiful sound of the bush that I love to listen to at night. So as the night goes, we'll be going past some pond. Hopefully we'll listen to different frogs making those sounds that they make. That's why we give them like a group of frogs, or like when they sing together, we call it a chorus of frogs, a group of frogs. So I love to hear those different kinds of frog making that sound. Catch a gay with a question again. Oh, thank you, Kate. Thank you, Kate. Thank you. Okay. We will carry on trying to find those lion tracks, see where they ended up to. Okay, so off we go. I'll keep driving along the northern boundary. Hopefully we'll turn to the left and carry on searching. If we don't see more tracks down here, maybe they might have crossed up ahead of us. We'll still carry on looking and cut across to our property. Yeah, Joe, my scariest experience, that's what you're asking, was when I was on a game drive and we come across the head of elephants and we were watching them very nicely relaxed, and suddenly one female just put the head up and then ears out, and we were wondering what the story is, and next minute she started strolling onto us, and next minute the whole head come behind. And firstly I thought maybe they just want to run past where we are. I drove forward and suddenly they started following us, and all I heard behind me was guests screaming, "They're coming, they're coming." When I look, there were like 8 or 10 of them, full speed at us, and I had to drive. And the scariest was that the road that I was driving on was an old like path that hasn't been driven for a long time, and I was scared that I might get into a warthog hole or I might just hit something, because I couldn't see the road because of the grass. I just could figure out that the road was here. And I was closing ahead on a 3rd gear, 4th gear, and all I hear is the noise behind me saying, "They're coming, they're coming." And I drove like about 100 to 150 meters until they stop, and then I carry on driving away. And that was the scariest moment of my driving or my guiding in the bush. Just here. Okay, I have to go down. Yeah, I just got a couple of tracks of land back and forward. Hopefully the same one that we've been following, but it seems like maybe they've gone that way and back to our property. We'll carry on searching on our side. Hopefully they're still on this side. Okay. Okay, as we're gonna carry on following these lines, I'm gonna just pass to you guys to Taylor on the other side. I think she's got a line on that side. Okay.
We have, and we're gonna try and stick with the lions for as long as possible. I can't believe we managed to find them. That was pure luck this afternoon. Hey, Sensor, we had a great day. A bit slow to start off with this afternoon, but it's definitely got better. And look who's come to join us now too. It's the youngest cub of the Nkuhuma Pride. Or should I say the only cub of the Nkuhuma Pride. We can't really call the others cubs anymore. They're sub-adults now. And desperately wanting to go in there, as you can see. I don't know if I'd be as brave as that little cub. There's been lots of swatting, lots of growling, lots of snarling, even the occasional biting, I think. And when you're that small, you are going to get squashed pretty easily. Not on purpose, but of course the adults are fighting for as much food as they can get. And that little one does have a big belly, so it kind of doesn't need to eat too much more. The adults are the ones that have to do the hunting. So this time, youngster, we might have to just take a little seat back. I'm actually trying to work out if it's a little boy or a little girl, because I don't know the sex of it. Is it a... Looks like a little boy, hey? Yeah, I was texting. I'll ask him. Is it my daughter? Is it a girl? Oh, it's a little girl. There we go. A little girl. That's nice. Hopefully she does successfully make it to adulthood. And that will just mean one more for the ever-growing Nkuhuma Pride, which is very, very exciting. Because, I mean, out of the 6 cubs that they had a few in 2016. The ones that survived the white muscle disease, 5 of them are girls. So that brings the pride now to 11 females and 1 young male, if I'm not mistaken. That's exceptional. It's a big Pride Alliance. Now, Karen, you're wondering if I can tell which one of the little lion, or which one of the not so little lions, is the lion I used to call Floppy Ear. I didn't actually call her Flip Flop. Brent used to call her Flip Flop, and Tristan, and it would annoy me. I called her the Floppy Ear Girl, and the only reason we called her the Floppy Ear Girl is because she got a bouts of mange, and her ear became so swollen that it drooped. But we always knew that it was going to recover and straighten up. And to be honest, Karen, with their heads in the buffalo like they are, it's virtually impossible. But I bet you're all keeping an eye out, because I'd love to see her, and she'll be one of these, one of them, of course. I'm collecting all the insects today. I've got the grasshopper on my hat. I've just had a jumping spider land on me somewhere, but I'm hoping that we can catch the jumping spider and train it to catch all the bugs. Senzel, maybe I'll give you the spider if I can find it, and it can get all those ones that are biting you. There's these tiny little midges that are out at the moment, and that's actually what's getting us. It's not even the bigger midges, but they bite really sore. It's like a pinprick. It's honestly like if you take a pin or a needle and you were to prick your finger if you were going for a blood, a little blood test or something, malaria test, that little pin, if any of you have ever had a malaria test, yeah, that's what it kind of feels like. It's horrible. It's really quite painful. Not pleasant whatsoever. Now, I'm surprised that this lioness has made it this far. And Danielle, you're wondering how the wound on the hip of the one lioness is. It's incredible. It's healed immaculately. We can't see it too well now because, well, her skin is all wrinkled up and sort of concealing the wound slightly. But if she does open up her hip slightly, we can see it. But it looks good. It looks very good, in fact. I can't believe it. She's a bit scrawl. That's a good South African word. Scrawl. S-K-R-A-A-L. And basically that sort of means thin. You would use it to describe something that wasn't in the best condition. It's actually a great word. And that's exactly what she looked like. So yeah. But at least she's going to have a full belly now because she hasn't lifted her head once away from that carcass. It'll take her a bit of time. I bet her immune system took a little bit of a knock too. But she'll get there. I mean, she's made it this far, so I have no doubt that she's going to make a full recovery. Pretty impressive. Because when I first saw the footage, I didn't know if she was going to come back from something like that. It was a terrible wound, the way she had it. But Pride is obviously all pulled together and helped her with the hunting. Maybe she stayed back. Maybe she wasn't doing much of the hunting. I wouldn't imagine she'd be able to. And they still allowed her to feed. Pretty amazing. Go Lions, go. Which is why they are so successful. Shame the little one is just creeping around looking for a little gap. I don't think you're going to find one, I'm afraid. Now, Orchid Wave, you're wondering if there's any difference between male and female tufts on their tails, so that black tip. I don't think so. I can't ever remember reading anything before. Actually, this is the first time I've ever been asked this question. I'm just looking on the young male now, comparison to the females. I can't see any difference at all, in fact. But who knows? I don't think there is. I think it's the same. You can see the little one is actually just starting to get it, and they typically start to develop that black tuft of hair on the tail. I think it's from about 6 or 7 months old. Maybe even a little bit younger. Still got a bit of a way to go, though. Still got all its little spots on its legs, on its body. Come on, little one. I reckon you could just do a big pounce and land on top of the skeleton of the buffalo. And feed that way. Get inside the rib cage. Eat your way out. You could do that. It's small enough to still get in there. And it would be protected then by the ribs from the savages, which are the sub-adults that are desperately chomping away to get at any scrap that they can. Come on, you fat-bellied lions, get up and go for a walk to Buffelshoek Dam so we can watch you drink in the last of the evening light. You can see it's just sort of catching those lions now, but soon In the next, well, there's quite a bit of cloud cover actually, so it might get darker quicker. Maybe in the next 10 to 15 minutes it's going to be very dark. Here's an interesting question, and it's from Lauren in Illinois. How likely is it that that young male of the Nkuhuma Pride is going to, I suppose, disperse and find other males to join up with? I don't know. I don't think very likely. I'm just trying to think what other young up-and-coming males there are in the area. I don't think there are too many. Maybe if he goes on a wanderbout, if he perhaps goes into northern Kruger or maybe into the Manuleti, I don't know what lions are there, in fact. Maybe he'll come across some other male lions that are in a similar predicament. Whether they'd accept him or not is a whole different ballgame. That we can't predict. That you just have to kind of wait and see. And we saw a young male with Brent, remember? Trying to join a group of male lions, and he was rejected. Lucky they didn't kill him. You hear all the snapping. I don't know if that's actually bones. Might be. They also are sitting on a few trees now, so they could be snapping the stems of those too. But there's not much left at all on there. They really are right at the end of this carcass. Anita, you said you're sitting in Columbus, Ohio, and the growling is making your heart sink. It's pretty daunting sound, eh? I can't tell you. Heart race, not sink. I suppose same, but different. Yeah. You know what? I get excited by this sound, though. You know, when I was driving in, and we were with the school, and how I heard, well, actually, I didn't even see the other lions. I heard them. I heard a big growl like the one we've just heard now, and I slammed on brakes and I switched the car off. That gave me a fright, because I actually thought it was maybe a lion coming out of the bushes at me, because I couldn't see where it was coming from. It was so thick. But it wasn't. It was them just scrapping over the remains of this carcass. So that's actually what pointed me in the other direction. If it wasn't for that, though, I suspect you would have still seen it. Is this my little floppy-eared girl? She's got very dark eyes, and I distinctly remember her having dark eyes like amber eyes. Not quite the same, but fairly similar. I don't know, though. It's been such a long time since I've last seen her. She's grown up so much. Little one, dodging tails and teeth. Trying to find a gap again. Now, here's quite a cool question from Eloise, and it's just going back to that young male lion, and once he disperses, and it's about whether he'd ever be successful or not. Yeah, of course. I've seen many prides of lions where there's just been one male within the area. Obviously, the more males you have, the better chance you have of keeping that pride for a longer period of time. So, yes, it is most certainly possible. But out here, we don't often see many single male lions going off on their own. Just trying to think. Remember the story I told you of Freddie and Solo, who were two male lions that once were down in Sabi in the southern sands, so even around Kirkman's, Lion Sands, Mkumbe, Dudley. I'm just trying to think of all the different properties around there. And they were in, well, at one point, I think it was Solo that was in charge of or Freddie, one of the two, I can't really remember now, it was such a long time ago, were in charge of the Southern Pride, all on their own, but then got chased out by the Sand River males, and then they got chased out by other lions, and then the Four Ways males came in, and then the Charlestons came in too. So the change-up happens all the time, so it does happen, but then in their old age, those two males that were on their own for most of their life, which is quite unusual, decided to join up, and they sort of retired together, which was quite cool. I thought that was very clever of the two of them to do that. These are the little cubbers. Yes, you're going to get hiding now. It's managed to find a spot, but it's already been reprimanded. Oh, you better be careful. Especially if you're older siblings, they're not going to tolerate you very much at all. Now, Nancy, you've said that the Styx Pride have got quite a few young males, and you think maybe he could join them. Maybe. I don't know if any of you have heard this news. I found out yesterday from a couple of guides. Apparently that one of the Tsalala lionesses has killed one of the young males from the Styx Pride, one of the cubs that are about a year old now. I've heard this from 3 different guides, on 2 guides on Chitwa and another guide from Nkuhumas. So I'm not sure how true that is or what has happened. I actually haven't read anything, but to be honest, I haven't done any research about it just yet either. So that's no good. So I can't even tell you how many lions are in the Styx Pride anymore. I've completely forgotten. And the last time I was here, I think there were 3 new cubs, and then I haven't seen them for ages. And I think they're still bumbling about on Arethusa somewhere. A little bit sad, but that is, of course, just one of those things. How's the light, Senzo? Still fine? No, it's I'm up to you. Are you happy still? So I'm just checking with the light conditions with Senzo if he wanted to go to infrared. But not just yet. We've got a little bit of light to play with. But while we see what happens, whether these lions are going to sleep, fight, or drink, I'm going to send you back across to Scott to see where he is and what he's searching for.
Well, happy that the lions are back on the property. Good stuff, and well done, Taylor, for getting you into the right spot there. We're kind of working our way through an area where I had some tracks of wild dog this morning. No further sign of them. And just enjoying the very, very beautiful evening that it is out here. Not a breath of wind. First Lady, you would like to know what I think Tingana's prospects are now. Well, he's in all likelihood just going to reduce the size of his territory and his activity wherever he decides, his vocalizing, his scent marking. He's going to reduce that and kind of just be like a retired old man, really. Not getting too heavily involved in the younger male's business and trying to really avoid them. Maybe sneaking the odd lady as and when it presents itself to him. But yeah, it seems like his time has kind of come. But the same thing happened with the older male that Tingana booted out, and he was still around 3 years later, basically. He was last seen in December last year. That same old male. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I'm feeling confident that his time is up and the Nkuhumas' time has come. And I guess what that means for us is that we'll probably just be seeing less and less of Tingana and more of the Nkuhumas male. But time will tell. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Sean, you would like to know when was Tingana last seen and when? I'm not entirely sure. I think it was around a week or so ago in and around the Chitwa area. He tends to like hanging around there with his son Hosanna. And I'm fairly confident we had tracks of him this afternoon. Heading into that same area. It appears his tracks came off Djuma in our southeastern corner of the property and then headed along our southern boundary for a while, and then from there crossed into Little Gower. And he was seen at good, but not when, so a few days ago. Okay. So yeah, I mean, he's still around and he's not going to disappear. I'm not going to disappear, but he's going to spend less and less time where we ordinarily used to see him in our area. Okay, well, my signal's getting a bit shaky, so we should continue back to Taylor.
Hello everybody, we're now in infrared in case you're wondering why we're in black and white. So basically, we've put our big special lights on now. The IR light, the animals cannot see it. So we won't be disturbing them. Instead of putting an artificial spotlight on them, especially with that young cub around. We don't like to spotlight the young animals. I'm very lucky to be able to just sit and watch them. Some of them have gone to sleep. That little one's still desperately trying to get in. Not giving up hope just yet. Looks so unhappy. Look at those ears. Very unimpressed. Now, First Lady, you've asked if overeating would ever cause any problems for lions. Other than maybe give them a bit of an upset stomach? No, I don't think so. Like we were chatting about earlier, it's actually how their digestive system is designed. It's supposed to happen that way. They can go for 3 or 4 days a week and not touch any food, and then they will completely gorge themselves, where their stomachs quadruple in size, if not even more. So it's completely normal. That's one of the adult lionesses. Can you hear her panting? Panting really heavily. Now, not because she's necessarily hot, I bet she's a little bit on the warm side, but because that stomach has expanded a fair amount, it's pushing up on the diaphragm now, which means that they have to take these shorter breaths. It's like Jurassic Park now. Pretty crazy, isn't it? Dead Tom, you said that's such an intimidating sound. It most certainly is. Imagine walking in the bush and hearing that. You'd be very frightened. Very, very, very frightened by that sound. I'd definitely take a couple of steps to the left and to the right. Now, you might see a light every now and then. That's, of course, a spotlight. It's not coming from our vehicle. We've got our infrared on. We always, whenever we can, try avoid using the spotlights. But there are some other guests in the sighting with us who are enjoying it. And unfortunately, they don't have big fancy cameras like ours with very cool lights on them. Bumper, you're wondering how far is the Gari Dam from the kill? Quite far away. The closest one is Buffelshoek Dam, which is maybe only about 100 meters away. So that's the one they'll be using to drink. Vuyatela Dam must be, I don't know, trying to think, maybe 2 miles away, 2.5 miles. So not too far either, but there's no need for them to go down that way. But are you asking maybe because you want to have a look on the dam cam tonight? Always good to keep an eye out. Whether they're going to sleep or get on the move, I'm not sure, but I don't think you're going to hear the growls from there, I'm afraid. You'll just have to sit and listen to them now. Sort of gets quite heated and then they settle down again. They're bothering you, those midges, Senzo. I put my jacket on to try and get... It's not really working, though. Now, Teddy Bear Toys asked if there's always a runt in every litter. No, not necessarily. Not that I've seen. Sometimes it does happen. I always wondered if a floppy-eared little lion was perhaps the runt of the litter. She was very feisty, though. It was almost just like she had to keep fighting for her place in the pride, whereas everybody else had it a little bit easier, and she was. Character building, I suppose, hey? Look how tough it made her, standing up to the Birmingham boys. She used to literally sit on top of the buffalo carcass and swat at anything and growl and snarl and hiss if anyone came near her. She was very entertaining to watch, which is why I grew so fond of her, of course. It's almost too hot for my jacket, but I don't want to get bitten because these are nasty little midges. You might see them actually in the infrared light flying around. You can see them just buzzing past. Is this the little floppy-eared girl? I don't know. It's hard to see. Anyways, we're not going to go anywhere just yet. We're still waiting for these lions to go for a drink of water. Well, that's what I'm hoping anyways. Let's see if Lucky's got his spotlight out, and I wonder how good he is at spotting chameleons.
Just over in front of us, with a spotlight, we have a Nightjar. It's sitting nicely, looking around for something to eat. There he flies off. It's a beautiful little bird. Comes out at night. You see it often at this time of the night. They normally use the skyline to hook insect from the air. They have a very interesting story about how they hook insect and all that. You see them every time I'm sitting on a road or on a pole, looking up in the sky. They don't pick insects from the ground. That's a trick of them. They only hook them up in the air because they've got a very wide mouth that they open wide and hook insect. If you may know that at night, mostly insect that flies at night are moth. There's a lot of moth that they take. So they have a huge, big eyes, as you notice one was on the ground. Big eyes. They use them to see above. And with the big whiskers and eyelashes, very long eyelashes. And by catching moth, that's what's fascinating me, is that they have what we call a comb, a little comb on their toe, because by catching moth, moth release the scales. You know, if you touch a moth, there's scales that comes off. So they will be feeding on a moth, and those scales comes off and clog their eyelashes, and it makes it difficult for them to see at night. So you sometimes see them sitting on the road, cleaning themselves on all those scales by using that little comb on each foot, or there's a little toe nail in the middle toe. They have little comb. It's a proper developed little comb that they use to clean up their eyelashes. And that's funny for me because male and female have that. So that's how fascinating they are. Nightjars. Okay, it's flew off. So let's carry on search. Monique, thank you that you love Nightjars. I do love them too. So thank you so much. Okay. Let's keep searching. Maybe we will see more, or we'll see some. We'll be looking for nocturnal animals now with a spotlight, which will. Come, I can make the sound. Come, as he's asking to, can I make the sound? I can make the sound of some of Nightjars, like Farinek Nightjar. I can make the, although it's not a good one, but I can make the sound. Which we translate sometimes as it says, "Good Lord, deliver us." But that's the sound they make. Okay. Oh, there's another two on the ground. Yeah, flying off the birds. Carry on. So I was saying we're trying to find any nocturnal animals. Yes. Okay, because we will carry on searching, but so far I can take you back to Taylor. She's got lions that side. Unfortunately, we just had that one lion killed a cub, but that's nature, how it is. So back to Taylor.
Well, still just sitting patiently, that's for sure. A lot more movement going around now. Some of the sub-adults getting up. Perhaps they've realized that there really isn't much left at all. Now, I wonder if all this growling is going to lure in the hyenas for a little bit later. Wonder if the Djuma clan will be here to clean up the scraps once these cats move away. Possibly. Only time will tell, though. Might be a good spot to come and check tomorrow morning, to come and have a little look around, see if there is anything left. Or if the lions, of course, are still going to be around here. Now, Eloise, you're wondering if other lions will ever get seriously hurt during sort of a food dispute. Yes, of course, it can happen from time to time. Most of the time, it's kind of just like a push and a shove and a get away from me, this is my spot. You know, when you have an argument with your brother or sister, elbows at the table, because of course, you know, your brother's eating with his arms out as if he was a chicken flapping his wings, and you're just trying to eat nicely. That's like the equivalent of what's going on, except that they're lions, and of course everything is escalated slightly. So they growl and snarl and swipe at one another. With basically the equivalent of you going, brother, please can you eat with your elbows at your sides? Remember, there's no table manners here, so they just shout at one another all the time. So that's what goes on. And I'm not necessarily even worried about the older ones. It's that little one that I'm a little bit worried about, because it keeps trying to get in on the kill. And when your face is, well, your nose is all the way in a buffalo carcass, you're not really worried about who's trying to sneak in on the left or right side. You're just going to retaliate. And because that cub is still quite small, they are exceptionally tough creatures, though, because how many times have we seen big male lions swat at young cubs and they go flying? They just sort of get up, shake it off, and then go running back to mom with their tail between their legs. So they're fine, and not really anything to worry about too much. They just need to be a little bit on the cautious side when they go about things like this. But very lucky that we got the lions. Goodness, the mosquitoes and things are horrible tonight. I don't even have repellent for us. Ian, I think you may have just jumped on board the safari and you're wondering why there are no males at the kill. Well, there's one young male here that's almost 2 years old, but I think you're referring to perhaps the Birmingham boys, which is the dominant coalition within this area. They're all over the show. I don't even know where they are. I have yet to see them in the 2 weeks that I've been back at work. Since returning from Kenya. From what I can understand, there's 2 Birmingham boys that have been roaming around the southwestern corner of the Sabi Sands, so on Lion Sands, on Sabi, all around those areas, probably Kirkman's, and it's a problem. They're very far out of their territory. Perhaps they've decided to move on, and now they've left this area open. But there are 3 young males by the name of the Avoca males that are on Buffelshoek at the moment. So maybe they're going to hear all this commotion and come over and investigate. However, I don't think they're going to receive a warm welcoming from either the Torchwood Pride, which is another pride of lions we occasionally see, or even the Nkuhumas, which is this pride of lions. I think they're going to find themselves in a bit of trouble, especially because they're quite young too. They might be bullied by these girls. What you got? You're just doing a bit of a clean-up, Lion? Just having a little, just watching them. So Taxon's now leaving the sighting. You may be able to hear a vehicle. Ooh. Peter Piper, you've said who would win an eating contest? 8 lions or a pack of 8 wild dogs? Well, I suppose it depends what it is. If it was an impala, I think the lions would win. 8 lions would just literally pull each appendage apart and swallow it whole. And wild dogs eat fairly quickly. They do clean up a carcass too, but I think it's all size dependent. So should we do it in relation? So let's say an impala for the wild dogs and a kudu for the lions. It's probably going to be the wild dogs if you did it that way. I think that they are more efficient eaters. Remember, they are a lot smaller than a lion. They don't hold on to their prey, so they don't sort of catch really large meals that they can feed on for 2 or 3 days like lions do. A wild dog will try and eat, also again, their stomachs balloon up, but they eat more regularly. They eat once a day if they can. So there's always that opportunity that they don't have to go for really big prey. They'll go for smaller things and try and eat more regularly, where the lions have the complete opposite system. Also, lions need to eat a whole bunch more than a wild dog does. But I think wild dogs would probably clean up a carcass a lot quicker, depending on the size of it too, and how many members there were. But good question. Gets your brain thinking, doesn't it? I had to go back to all the wild dog kills I've seen. And most of the time it's been small things like scrub hares. Sorry, I was interrupted by the lions. Dacre, bushbuck, the odd nyala. So yeah, quite cool though. Oh, you are all angry. Hey, lions? Shall we reposition, Senzo? I've got a case of the yawns at the moment. Let me go back a little bit. Let's see if we can change this angle up slightly. We moved right far away to accommodate everyone, but everyone seems to be leaving now. How's that? That should be a better view. We'll see in a minute. I can't see anything at the moment. It's just black darkness. But when we've got the infrared on, then I can see. I look at my monitor. Oh, hello. Now you can see how there's nothing left. So I just always try and make sure that the guests often have the better view, so they can get some photos, and we can always sneak on in right at the end. But look at that. There's not even anything left now. And finally, the youngest lion of the Nkuhuma Pride is able to sink its teeth into the buffalo once again. Well done, little one. Your persistence has paid off this evening. But still, just sort of cowering in the corner, keeping out of harm's way. Guide Monkey, you said that the cub is really working the angles. I do agree. I feel like it's going to be, it was a photographer in its previous life. Not afraid to get down and dirty and lay flat on the floor to get the shot. That's exactly what's happened here this evening. But again, it worked though. It worked really well. It's even got that tree next to it, so I suppose that's a little bit of protection between one of the bigger lions. I don't think it's getting much off of that though. I mean, it barely looks a little bit bigger. A little bit more plump than we last saw it, but obviously not too happy with that spot and now moving right around. That's such an eerie shot. With that lion's eyes glowing, the paw on top of the rib cage. It's like a horror movie. Spars, you've asked, who is it, Salala Pride? It's another pride of lions. I actually don't even know how many of them are left at the moment. Again, I'm so out of the loop in the Sabi sand. And I've just pulled my mic pack off, sorry. Let me attach it again. So I'm not really sure how many are left. I know one of the older Salala lions, not the tailless Salala lion, unfortunately died of old age, but that, of course, was bound to happen. She was a much older girl. So the last time I remember, I think there were 2 or 3 females, one including the tailless. She got a bit of a stump, and then there were 3 young boys that I think have now dispersed since then. I'm not sure how many, if she had cubs. I think she did, the tailless lion did have cubs too, but again, I'm so out of the loop and I haven't been seeing any lions. This is the first time I put lions on screen since I've been back at work. Can you believe that? It's just been leopards coming out of my ears. So really nice. My goodness, these midges are getting underneath your hat and they bite all on your face. It's quite, and Senzo feels my pain this evening. Really are being attacked. You can see all of them buzzing around the front of the camera. So it's just another pride of lions. So sometimes we see them. They tend to hang around on Londolozi, Arethusa, Hoffmans, Shirley's, Little Gowrie. Sometimes they pop onto Chitwa, but not regularly. So that's sort of their area that they hang around on. See, I think what's happening now is they're all trying to grab hold and pull the carcass apart. Then they'll eat in peace because they'll just grab their bits and run and go sit in the corner. But there really isn't anything left now. Nothing yet. I think the one that's going to win at feeding on that carcass is probably going to be the little one, because it's got such a much smaller mouth, much smaller jaw, and is able to get into all those nooks and crannies. Very cool. Right. Off you go, back across to Scott to see who's going to find the chameleon first. I know it's not going to be me this evening, but who do you think? Hashtag Safari Live, whether it's going to be Scott or Lucky. Let's get those bets going, but let's go to Scott and give him a chance.
I wonder who it will be. After Taylor's finding of a snake last night, that's what I'm trying to compete with and hoping for. But of course, chameleons as well. You're kind of looking for a similar thing when looking for snakes and or chameleons. It's usually a paler shade relative to the rest of the bush that you're looking in. And I'm quite surprised that we don't actually see more snakes, because I'm confident they're around. And especially the boomslangs, and they're big, they're much bigger than a chameleon, so quite easy to see in theory, yet we don't see them very often. Huh. Rabinda, you would like to know where our friend Chicken Medicine has gone, aka Long Toes, aka Hukumuri, for those of you who don't know. The direct translation of Hukumuri apparently means chicken medicine. He is the new male leopard that we have been seeing from time to time, and I'm not too sure where he's gone, Rabinda. Haven't been any tracks of him on the property, so I'm guessing he's kind of checking his territory further to the south and further to the west of where we roam. But who knows, maybe this evening he'll pop back on for a visit and we'll have some fresh tracks to follow up on in the morning. But I haven't heard any confirmed reports of his whereabouts, so not too sure. Come on, snake. Where are you? Hello, lovely Laurie. You would like to know if female leopards, just like the males, are also solitary. And yes, they both are. They're the only truly solitary species of cats, or big cats, that we get here. Cheetah, the female, are solitary, but the males form coalitions, and lions, both male and female, can form prides and or coalitions. So it's just the leopards, I guess, and female cheetah that are strictly solitary. Alrighty, well, Lucky's clearly searching high and low, hoping to find a chameleon for that competition that we're playing, but he's found something else in the time being.
Thanks, Cody. We've been searching for chameleons, but we managed to find scrub hares, which, if you look, there's one sitting in the open there, and halfway on the left there's 2 eyes that you see there, which means there's three of them, of which the chance it could be the mother and the young one and the male as well. Maybe it's just a family, so they're just milling around there, and this is the time for them now to feed. They're more active at night, as they call scrub hares. I see like trotting along the second one. Probably maybe there's a young one there, or another adult. That's mostly what we find at night here is these hares. We don't really see rabbits, because people will say this is a rabbit, which is not. This is called a hare. It's the same, almost the same thing, but there's a little bit of a difference between them, between a rabbit and a hare. We get a lot of hares than rabbit. Rabbit, we've got one species in Southern Africa, which we call it a African riverine true rabbit. So we don't really see it. I've never seen one in these areas. Only the scrub hares that I see. The rabbit and the hare, the mostly way to say which one is which, the difference is that the rabbit, when they give birth to the babies that can't help themselves. They still have to be with the mom in a den somewhere, because they're very helpless. They can't even move. They like not fully developed. And the hare give birth to a live and fully developed baby, which can walk and run around in a couple of hours. So that's the difference. And also this one, they've got a very long ears than the hare, than the rabbit. The rabbit have very short ears. And if you look at this one jumping around, it's got a long hind legs, whereas the rabbit have a shorter legs as well. The legs are almost the same size. This one, the hind legs are much longer than the front. That's the mainly difference with these two things. So we've got mainly hares, not rabbit here. That's what you see. Okay, we'll carry on searching for that chameleon. Okay, Nina, you're asking where did I trek before? As I said, I come from KZN, KwaZulu-Natal, which is further south of here, in a reserve called Pinda. That's where I started trekking. I trekked there for 8 to 9 years, and then I tend to be guiding from there until now. Okay. Okay, let's keep searching. Hopefully we'll find that chameleon. Rita, yes. We were very lucky at the beginning on Pinda where I used to work. We did manage to put caracals in the area because we didn't have them. Unfortunately, we lost them, and I've never seen a caracal for many years. So I've never tracked it for a long time. So I'm looking forward to get to an area where they still have caracals. Probably I'll get back to track one of those beautiful little cats, because I love to see that beautiful little pointed ear cat. Left to right. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad I also enjoyed it. Okay, we'll keep searching for the chameleon. While I'm busy searching for the chameleon, I can take you back to Taylor. She's also on the move, driving around. Back to Taylor.
Well, lucky the game is on now for the last few minutes to find the chameleon. Who's going to do it first? I'm sorry I left the lions, but unfortunately Senzo and I have literally been eaten alive, and I felt like my blood pressure was dropping because of the amount blood between the mosquitoes and the midges we're taking. It was unbearable. My hands are so itchy. I can't tell you, I've got bites all over my fingers, and I just want to scratch them, and I don't know what to scratch them on. And everyone, I know you're going to tell me, don't scratch it, just don't think about it, because that's what my mother would say. I cannot wait to get the antihistamine cream. I'm going to use it as a body lotion. Our legs, everything. I mean, there were quite a few mosquitoes around, but my goodness, you're also itchy, Sensor. I could just see Sensor's arms scratch marks. I know, laughing at one another, and it is quite funny. But you got to do what you got to do. Nightjar, you almost hit me in the face there. So where's this chameleon? Where is it? Lucky, I'm coming for you. I'm going to get a chameleon tonight as well. I've got a good feeling. If I can search and not scratch my legs. I'm going to bathe in it. Halo, you've said mosquito bites on your hands are the worst they are. And I'm just looking at my index finger. I've got about 4 on that one. I can't tell you how many I've got on my knee. Oh, now it's in my head. So I'm really trying to not think about it. I might do the snapping technique. Do the death cross, as my dad always used to talk about, where you take your nail and you sort of do a cross over on each side, and that normally subsides it for a little while. Come on, chameleon. Can we do it? We've got less than 1 minute to go. I don't know. I feel like I'm not sure if I'm going to be that lucky this evening, I'm afraid. But we're trying. I believe that all of you said that Scott would win the chameleon competition. Now I feel like I shouldn't stop driving. I'm going to search, because we're going into a little dip, and it might be good because it's nice and sheltered in here, so my eyes are focused. Come on, Sensor, help me spot. Are you searching for that reflection? We're looking. 20 seconds! I'm afraid is over. Unfortunately, we did not find the chameleon. No one found the chameleon, so that means no one wins today. But I hope you enjoyed the exciting safari, and hopefully the Nkuhumas will be around tomorrow morning. We'll see you on the Sunrise Safari.